welcome to another episode of That Made Your List, a weekly podcast where an average, ordinary film fan, that's me, interviews other average, ordinary film fans. My name is Dave Goodger, and joining me on the podcast this week we've got Timothy Smith. Hello, Timothy.
Hi, how are you, Dave?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for coming on the show with me. Before we get started with these 20 questions, why don't you tell myself and the listeners a little bit about yourself?
I'm 31 now, so I've been a movie fan for 25 years, around there. Love movies, love a lot of leagues around here for the fan community, been involved with them ever since seeing the early days of Take 3, whenever that started. So
yeah.
I've been around a bit, and mostly just been around doing that. That's my fun, my escape from work, I guess you can say.
Yeah. Whereabouts in the States are you from?
From Ohio.
Ohio. Oh, cool. I'm trying to get a little plug map so I can see where everyone trying to get all the states involved.
That's quite all right. Yeah, mine is a little dot in the corner there, about 45 minutes from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So.
No, fantastic. Okay. That's great. So we'll get going then. Let's start with one that some people find quite difficult pinning down. But what's your favourite film?
Oh, see, that is difficult because there's a lot I have for my favorites. But my overall favorite is The Skulls with Joshua Jackson with
Paul Walker.
Yes. I don't know why I blanked on Paul's name because I love Fast and the Furious. But yeah, you have Craig T. Nelson playing his dad. It's honestly one of the movies I watched when I was younger and absolutely loved, and I literally watch that all the time.
Yeah.
So definitely The Skulls, and I think we're all maybe a little bit of a conspiracy nut, and I just love that twist in with the conspiracy with the Skulls, secret societies. So that's also a plus for me for that movie.
No, absolutely. It's one that it's only recently when I think it came across one of the rotation on one of the film channels in the UK. I'd forgotten that Paul Walker was in there. I mean, I've seen the film, but it was a long while ago that I saw it. And yeah, I'd blanked completely that Paul Walker was in there. I was like, oh, it's you. Yeah.
Well, even when I first saw Fast and the Furious, I'm like, where do I know that guy from?
Yeah.
And I watched The Skulls a couple days ago. I'm like, son of a bitch, how did I not see this? I'm like, how?
No, absolutely. Obviously directed by Rob Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
He's had, shall we say, an interesting run as a director. He's quite sketchy in some places and quite good in the others. I mean, it's from one side. Obviously, he's done The Fast and the Furious in 2001 as well as Schools, but then 2005 goes with Stealth.
Yeah. I think all directors hit that point. I really do.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have your hits and your misses as a filmmaker. Not everything you could do is perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Michael Bay. He's the biggest hit or miss, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You can say, because you have the ruination of the Transformers for a lot of older kids.
Yep.
And then you have great movies like The Rock, 13 Hours.
13 Hours, I really enjoyed that film. That surprised me a lot with it being a bad film.
Yeah, exactly. Because you hear Michael Bay anymore, and you're just like, oh, he used to be good. Yeah. What happened?
No, absolutely. But, this... I'm kind of blanking on the story of this. It's, as I say, I remember seeing it because it came out.
For The Skulls?
Yes. Oh, sorry, jumping back into The Skulls. Sorry, it's.
I can give a quick rundown of it. It's Joshua Jackson's character. He's kind of the main character, but shares it a lot with Paul Walker once Paul Walker's character comes in.
Right.
But it's two different characters, one poor, one rich, so it's kind of like that different sides of the track type of feel.
Mm-hmm.
And Joshua Jackson's character is trying to get into law school, trying to become a lawyer, and as a poor kid, you're trying to do that with like 5-6 jobs, financial aid, whatever. and he joins a society, I guess, because they're supposed to pay for your law school. So he joins the Skulls and meets Paul Walker's character through that. And both of them throughout the story, it's kind of like an interesting take with, there's a line in there of, with the Skulls, is our rules supersede the outside world's rules. So it's kind of like trying to fit into another world inside of the world you're already living in, kind of.
Yeah.
With this secret society. And it's interesting, because I don't really... I don't know why I'm worried about spoiling it. It's over years. But
18 years old or something like that now, isn't it?
Yeah. Joshua Jackson's friend, who is a reporter for the school paper and a reporter in general, is working on a story to uncover the Skulls to get more information out about that secret society.
Yep.
Steals Paul Walker's key, breaks in, Paul Walker confronts him. They get in a tussle. He falls. He dies from it because of Craig T. Nelson, which is like the Skull leader and also Paul Walker's dad in that film. So he dies. That kind of drives a wedge in between like Joshua Jackson and Paul Walker, because that's Joshua Jackson's like best friend growing up, and like one of his best friends. So that drives a big wedge in between them. You have the girl love interest, who also, in a lot of these movies, you can say, oh, it's just a girl love interest, but she has her own character as well. Right. She's kind of like that high-class society girl, but if you saw her, you'd think like she grew up next door to you or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And they fall in love throughout the movie. There's the big conflict with Paul Walker and Joshua Jackson's character that gets resolved a little bit at the end. Each one of them kind of has their mentor in the movie. Of course, Craig T. Nelson is Paul Walker's dad. I forget who plays Senator Lindsay, I think his name is. I forget who plays him, but he's kind of like he's what Joshua Jackson was years ago before he joined.
Right.
So he's kind of like that mentor for him, and it's kind of like a mentor-on-mentor battle, and they involve the younger generation.
Right.
So that also plays into the conflict that Paul Walker and Joshua Jackson have.
Yeah.
But it's very good. Spawned off a few sequels, which I don't recommend them. But I recommend the first movie. The second one's not too bad. The third one,
a law of diminishing returns.
It happened. Yeah, the third one happened, but I recommend the first one, and you don't have to see all three of them.
Yeah,
they're kind of their own separate story. They all revolve around the Skulls, but you can watch one without having to worry about the other two.
So I have seen it a long while ago. I'll have to hunt us out together and watch it again. I think I'll definitely get someone watching with me. My wife's had the hots, should I say, for Paul Walker, so. That's something that if I ever say a Paul Walker film, she'd be, yep, I'll watch it, no problem. So that's there. One thing I do remember about this is James Van Der Beek was in the running for the Joshua Jackson role at one point. I don't quite think that'll end up being the same kind of film. No disrespect to him, but no, okay, that's a great start.
Yep.
Great start. Moving on then, what's the last film that you watched?
That would be one of my other favorites, and that would be Basketball.
Okay.
I watch that constantly. I know that like the back of my hand. Very funny comedy, especially when you're growing up. Like let's say you're a 10-year-old kid or something, and you see something. Oh, Stars Free Weekend. Basketball. It's a sports film. Let's see what this is. Oh my god! You know, it's like seeing HBO at 11:30 when your parents are crashing out.
Yeah. When
you're just hitting puberty, like. And it's one of my favorites. Like me and my best friend growing up, we loved this movie. We quoted this movie. We tried to start a basketball team, but it was just us, and we just made fun of it. We just. Basically just did what they did in the movie, ripping off lines. So
No.
But fun time, fun memories with it.
No. It's
It's
Parker and Stone, isn't it? So it's those two stars. So it's the South Park and Team America boys, but not in the director's role. Obviously, he was the acting and directing. It's
I forget who directed the thing.
No, it's blanking on me.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but I think that was honestly one of his first films, and also the guy that played Baxter Kane. That was also his 100th film role that got cast, and they celebrated that on set, which was pretty interesting.
David Zucker.
David Zucker directed it.
Yeah.
Also created the game too. He's like, yeah, we used to. If you watch the behind the scenes commentary, because I'm a bit of a junkie depending on the movie. Yeah. He goes into that, breaking it down. Like, yeah, we started this game and everything. I mean, I don't know. It just really hooked to me.
Yeah.
I think more the outrageous, raunchy comedy in the beginning, but over time, like the story, it's a simple story, but it really grew with me, and
yeah,
it's one of my other favorites. I love watching all the time.
No, absolutely. And I say it's of a time. I think is the best way of putting it. It's not. I don't think if the idea was come up with now, I don't think it would be made the way it was made. I don't think they'd get away with half as much nowadays.
I don't think there's a lot nowadays from back then you could make now.
Yeah, no, that's very true. That's very true. David Zucker was the director who directed one of my all-time favourites with Airplane.
Oh yeah.
That is one. As much as you saying you can quote this one and know this one, Airplane, I will sit. I mean, I have physically sat my two children down, sitting next to me, wrapped my arms around them so they can't get up, and made them watch that. But
me and Mark did that to Sean Sandberg with basketball one day. It was interesting to say the least.
Yeah, no, it's he's had a good old run with it. He did Airplane, Top Secret, Ruthless People, then the Naked Gun films, then Basketball. After that, kind of dropped off a cliff a little bit because there's Scary Movie 3 and 4. And also uncredited on 5.
Were good, though.
Yes, I really liked the first one. The first one was a perfect parody of Scream, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and all the teen slasher films. But yeah, they started becoming a parody of the parody then, so it kind of lost me with that. Yeah,
I think a lot of those parody films did that, and that's why after that drop off, you maybe had like a few spikes, kind of like on a heart monitor.
Yeah.
But then it just flatlined again.
Yeah. By and large, it's not.
Not good. Not a good.
It's not good at all.
Field. Yeah.
Okay. No. Again, another one. It's a very, very funny film.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we move on, anything else you'd like to profess your love for of this film? Anything else that brings to memory?
Oh, what for just this film?
Yeah.
Trying to revive it when I got older with friends at work, and we actually got a Squeak character this time, but we couldn't find any other team, so we just made fun of poor little Jeffrey. And that's pretty bad. Two grown ass men just ripping into a young 19, 20-year-old. It was bad. But yeah, I honestly I remember younger seeing this and just because I was never used to so much of the raunchy comedy. I grew up with a mom who grew up with all these old movies like The Naked Guns and Airplane, Blazing Saddles. So I got to see raunchy comedy, but this one was kind of like a new direction of it. So it was like, oh my god, I can't believe you can get away with this. I'm just turning her, because we had one TV at the time, and she got home from work and was passed out. I'm just like, oh, let me turn this down because I don't want to disturb this moment. And it was one of those movies that really, when you have that awakening as a child, it's one of those that ushered it in, and then let in Living Keller. I would stay up real late to sneak on. If I was at my aunt, she would just let me because she didn't care. She was kind of like one of those old Christopher Titus dad parents, which was awesome. But yeah, I mean, for memories, it's pretty much growing up with that, and me and my buddy just loving this, and being outside in his driveway, just shooting a basketball. I mean, we got pretty good. We couldn't run or jump or nothing, but you know, we could stand in place.
No. Okay, fantastic. Let's move on to the next one then. What's your favourite action adventure film?
This one, it took a while to think of, because I mean, there's a lot of action adventure films I like, and I put Jack Reacher with this, the first one, the very first Jack Reacher that came out.
Yeah.
And I like the other one too. The other one's honestly just as fine. But this one, it really hooked on to me, because I go into a lot of movies. I know there's certain people that love the trailers and they absorb as much as they can into it. I like going in there with blinders. I knew it was from a book, from a New York Times bestseller. I didn't know that much of it. It had Tom Cruise in it, which was like, older Tom Cruise, yay!
Yep.
And I was like, this is going to be pretty cool. And went in there. I absolutely love this thing, like from start to finish. It was an action-packed ride of this adventure, and it was just so awesome. Like, I cannot recommend Jack Reacher to enough people.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else to say with it. I love the thing.
No, like, it's a solid film. I heard about this originally on a BBC radio program on Radio 2 is the channel. I heard they were doing a film of Jack Reacher, and I have read every single one of the Lee Child books that's based on the character. Absolutely, and love that series of books. Now, Jack Reacher in the books is 6'7", 350 pounds of solid muscle. And when they turn around and says it's 5'0" Tom Cruise will be playing Jack Reacher, I was out. I bailed. No, there's no way in hell that he should be playing Jack Reacher.
Yeah.
I don't think there's honestly a human being alive who maybe Cena, but even he's too short.
I don't know if he has the acting chops for it yet. I don't know.
No, but saw the trailer. It brought me around a little bit, and they were very clever with their camera angles to make him look, if not towering, at least the same height as other people. Because there's scenes there where he's with Rosamund Pike, where he's above her looking down, so they're making it look as if he's at least tall. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the second one as much.
Yeah, I hear that from a lot of people.
Yeah, but it's still a watchable film. The second one's still very watchable. It just doesn't reach the heights of the first one, which is always difficult with sequels anyway. I find. And
I know from behind the scenes, like when you mentioned in the book, he's like this 6'4" towering character.
Yeah.
Like because they had the book author in there with the process too, and he met Tom Cruise, and like he even mentioned that too, because he was like, you're a bit short, but he liked him from the meeting, and what he saw, he was like, like you said, he's like, I couldn't imagine anyone else playing that role on big screen. And yeah, they did have some good camera angles, I think, really kind of like what Peter Jackson used in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
with trying
a lot of forced perspective on there.
Yeah.
Either that or Apple boxes.
Exactly. Picture Tom Cruise 5 foot up to stand on an Apple box trying to with his 20-year younger actress playing off of him.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know go through there the list of people that did consider for him. Brad Pitt, Hugh Jackman, Vince Vaughn was even pulled in at one point. Yeah, I know. Then also they also brought in Jamie Foxx and Will Smith at one point for it, which would have been. I mean, I don't think he's ever in the books. I don't think he's ever distinctly said he's a white man, so it could have been, but
yeah, I would have loved to see Jamie Foxx or even like you said, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting because he could have taken just a little bit of Wolverine into that.
Yes,
and that would have been just like not too much of a change.
No, absolutely. I mean, the cast as well. It's for there's no. The best way of putting it, there's no absolute standout stars apart from Cruise in there, but you've got a solid cast with it.
Yeah,
Rosamund Pike in there, Werner Herzog who plays the Zek, is absolutely chilling as that character. I mean, he pulls that character off to a treat.
Every time you see him, you just love seeing his roles. Like I remember always seeing him in movies, and I do a lot of TV, and I watch. One of my favorites is Entourage, and I saw him there as a director, and I'm just like, what is he doing on here? And I'm just like, every role I see him in, he knocks it out of the park, but gets not that much recognition for him. He's kind of like one of those underrated stars, in my opinion, I think.
Absolutely. I think it's quite comfortably Jai Courtney's best film. I don't think that anyone would complain too much about that being said on there as well.
Yeah.
But even the likes of David Oluwelu, is it him? The guy who plays the detective.
Yeah, I just call him David because I suck at. I mess up last names. I mess up last names. So I'm just like, Dave. If I ever had to know that for a trivia question, I'd be screwed.
Yeah, we'd both JTE the surname. I know that much.
Exactly.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure the series is done and dusted now. I don't think he's coming back to do a third one. I've not heard anything.
I could have sworn even when they started it, it was going to be at least 3 movies.
Oh, right, okay.
But that might have changed after the Mummy bomb that Tom Cruise did for Universal.
Yeah, and with Nova Go Back not really getting the heights either, it's...
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Studios anymore just worry about how much money they can get because they have disastrous projects that they got to finance. But the sequels don't always hit to the heights as the originals. Sometimes that's different. Sometimes that is, but not all the time. And the sequel didn't do that bad.
No, I mean, it made its money. It was a $60 million budget and made 160. The sequel did. So even if you take into account doubling the budget for the press tours and everything else like that, it's still making money for them. So. But I just say I really enjoyed all the books as well. So that one, it was always a pleasure seeing that jump up on the list of people that they enjoyed it.
Oh yeah. It's very rare that too many books get transferred to movies very well, and I've still got to read the books because I do like spy novels. I just haven't read anything for a very long time. Yeah. Because now with modern technology, I have so much to play with.
Oh no, absolutely. I understand that completely. They do run in order. So if you do pick up the first and work your way through, the one that the film is based on, called One Shot, is pretty much smack bang in the middle of the series.
Yeah, that's what they were saying behind the scenes. Like they started it off in the middle of the series, which. Yeah. Honestly, I like that because you don't have too much backstory with Jack Reacher, and you get that mysterious past from him if you're just first watching it without reading the books. Yeah. And I like that. I love that, having that mysterious past, not too much being known, and it's for me, I love characters like that when you don't tell too much of your story. Hint, hint. Disney, if you ever watch this.
Oh my God, please! Anyone from that?
But,
okay. No.
But yeah, I love characters like that. But yeah,
yeah, no, fantastic. Okay, so we'll swoop the genre around a little bit. What's your favourite horror film?
I'm gonna go hide under the bed with Josh McCougar. We're gonna cry and eat ice cream. Yeah, I'm pretty much a wuss with the horror. I really am. I'm right there with you. You try to front up in front of females, just to because that's our fishing game is females. But honestly, I think out of all the ones I've seen, I like Tremors the best. The first Tremors with
Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward.
Yes, Fred Ward, and my favorite character of all time, which carried into the series, Burt Gummer, survival enthusiast.
Yes. Yes.
Even though that poor little Asian guy didn't survive.
No, yes.
But yeah, it's like seeing that. I saw that as a little kid. They just had that on regular cable.
Yeah. And
I'm watching it, and I'm just like, I'm scared out of my mind. I'm like, oh my God, these could be real. Like, I don't want to play in dirt anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just one of those, and it's the more when I watch it later on, it's one of those slow burns, which it starts off slow, and you get that build up for it, and you don't see too much of the graboids like you do in the newer movies.
Yes,
but you don't see too much of it, so you have that looming, pending threat, and when you see it, it scares the crap out of you, kind of like Jaws.
Yeah,
and for horror nowadays, it's just, unless it's like the few things, I guess, done right, it's mostly just gore and violence for gore and violence.
Yeah, there are the odd ones. You can say the likes of A Quiet Place and Get Out. I think are the two main ones recently that have done horror differently.
And honestly, like Get Out for me is more of just like that exciting thriller than horror for me.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
And it's something like that. It's a nice slow burn. It builds up to that moment, and then you're hooked. And Tremors was like that, and it holds up. When you watching it back then to rewatching it over the years, it's one of those that hold up. It's one of those movies, not just horror movies, but movies that do hold up, and you can spot only really one kind of thing they did in shooting that's kind of like, hey, I know what I'm looking at now.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, it holds up over time, and it's still enjoyable.
Yeah. No,
after I'm 31 now, I saw it probably like 7.
Yeah, it's got to be. What year was it? 1990.
Yeah. So I'm seeing it on cable, and of course, it's a censored version. But
yeah, there's a remake being. Is it a remake, or they're doing a say a 40-year-old, 30-year-old sequel to it? I know there's one of the others being done, isn't it?
They might do a hard reboot. I know they just came out. It was on Netflix. Tremors: Cold Day in Hell with Burt Gummer, survival enthusiast, and now his son Jamie Kennedy. Which the more the series carries on, the more I worry for it. Kind of like Starship Troopers.
Oh God, yeah.
And if the rumors are true with Starship Troopers and they're just going to reboot it, that's fine. Granted, I'll always have the first one with Neil Patrick Harris, Casper Van Dien, and Denise Richards. But I'll always have that one, and I can get rid of the rest of the crap where they went completely off the wall. If they do that with Tremors, I'll still have the first one.
Yeah.
A bit of the second one. I enjoyed the second one. But I'll have my moments, and then we can hopefully get it right.
Yeah.
But Tremors would be one of my few horrors, which I'll still hide under the bed. So.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a particularly big hit during its theatrical release. It was only really on sort of the home video. It's tripled its budget eventually with home video sales and rentals during its theatrical. It's another one that that sort of went under the radar.
It's kind of like one of those cult classics, really.
Yeah,
kind of like basketball, because when it first hit the theaters, it bombed worse than anything. It bombed, and so did Tremors, but it had that cult classic kind of like even like Evil Dead. What was that? Book of the Dead, or
yes, that was the Evil Dead.
Yeah, and it has that cult classic, but if more people see it and see it over time, it's one of those that, for one of those cult classics, it holds up to this day.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So I'm not a massive horror fan myself, as I mention every week. I seem to mention, but yeah, this is one that I do remember seeing and always enjoy watching when it comes back through again. Okay, we'll get out of the creepy crawly stage then. So, what's your favourite drama?
Oh, that's easy, hands down. That is one of two, and I literally have been going about this the whole day in between my head. But I'm going with the runner-up. I will mention that because it is deserving of runner-up. Is Forrest Gump, but it's runner-up because it covers more than just drama in that whole movie. It really does. You have a family story. You have a bit of comedy. Granted, it's, I guess it would be messed up comedy in the PC era that we have in the world now, but it's an overall not just one genre movie.
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption is my number one pick, and I really do think that fits more as a drama. Yeah, it has its other moments too.
Yeah.
But Shawshank Redemption, the story of an innocent man getting thrown in prison for murdering his wife.
Yeah.
He was innocent. Meets Red, played by Morgan Freeman. I mean, they play off each other so well. They really do.
Oh, absolutely.
And you have a good cast behind it as well, which really helps out with that.
Cast in this, yeah.
And it's one of those movies. It's kind of like it. I hearken it to kind of like The Green Mile, and it has that story that just draws you in,
yes.
And from start to finish, you're going through those emotions of those characters.
Yeah.
Like, from Andy getting busted to going to jail to having to fight off the sisters to making a friend in Red to getting his library after I still cry when I see Brooks die. I still cry.
Mm-hmm.
And, training Tommy and hearing about Tommy's murder, and then you feel every emotion in that movie, and from start to finish, it's a hell of an enjoyable ride into Shawshank Redemption. Granted, I never want to go to prison ever in my life, but it's a great, enjoyable movie from start to finish, and I love it.
No, it's as you say, there are similarities in not so much in stories and everything else. Maybe it's the prison aspect of it between that and Green Mile. Obviously, they have got their links, both based on Stephen King shorts, both directed by Frank Darabont. So there's always going to be that sort of similarities in there. I mean, those two there are definitely ones that without a shadow of a doubt, the best two Stephen King films.
Yeah. And before I even really knew about Stephen King, like, I thought they were just great films. And then they were based on Stephen King books, and I looked and I'm like, I really thought he was just a horror guy. And then I looked at him and I read the books, and I'm like, oh my god, they're so good.
Yeah.
Why can't more books be like this?
Yeah. I mean, it took me a long time after I'd seen the film to realise that it was based on the King.
Mm-hmm. That's how it was for me, because like, I saw these when I was a teenager, and I'm like between 12 and 14. I'm not good with exact years. If I get married, I'm screwed. I'd be like, what's our anniversary date? I'd be like,
it's easy, make it on a naught. I've made it on the start of a decade. That way you can never forget it.
I'm going to time it to where it's around my birthday, where I'll somewhat remember.
Yeah.
But between 12 and 14, I saw these, and I had no idea. My buddy told me, the same buddy that got me into basketball.
Yeah.
Because he still is, big Oscar fan, big Oscar movie fan. So he loves those. And he's like, yeah, they're based on the books. He's like, yeah, I got it in my room. Here, I'll let you borrow them. I couldn't put them down. They were, like, for Stephen King books, they were very good. I won't read the other ones because we both talked with our horror thing and we're away from that subject. But I love The Shawshank Redemption. I love The Green Mile. But I went with Shawshank over it more because not that I have anything against Michael Clark Duncan. I really wish he was still alive. I wish God would have taken someone like Donald Trump and left us Michael Clark Duncan. But he was such a great. I mean, hell, he made Daredevil enjoyable for me.
Yeah,
I hated that movie, and he made it enjoyable because I was like, "Oh my God, it's Michael Clark Duncan, and he's a great Kingpin."
He was a great Kingpin. He was.
Yes, and Tom Hanks. I love Tom Hanks. I loved him in Philadelphia, Forrest Gump, in. I blank on that movie all the time. I'll think about it and come back. But Tom Hanks, another one of those actors that is just great in everything he does.
Yes.
And they work so well, but Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, the payoff as well at the end of it, it's such a satisfying end.
Yes.
And you're there and you're thinking away, and you're there and you're nodding to yourself and you're smiling to yourself saying, yes, yes, yes. Well played. 3 Oscar nominations without winning, though. It was up for Best Picture. Was that Green Mile? Sorry, that was Green Mile going up for Best Picture. Did Shawshank go up for Best Picture?
I think it did. It either went up for Best Picture or Best Director.
No, it got nominated for Best Picture.
Okay.
Yeah. Nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor in a Leading Role for Morgan Freeman, Best Writing for a screenplay based on a previous work.
Yep.
Cinematography and sound. I think. And
it got stiffed, I think, for every one.
I think it got stiffed for every single one. Yep, it did not win a single one. But yeah, no, absolutely fantastic film. It's one that when that the behind the poster, the Greta Garbo poster, you see just a flapping on there, and it's you just don't even. First time I watched it, I remember thinking it's what's going on, and to think, oh, he's escaped. Oh, he's got. My God, he's been doing this the whole time.
Yeah, like when that got revealed, when he was going through those posters, and that's why he was getting bigger and bigger posters. I'm like, son of a bitch, that is clever.
Yeah.
But I still can't believe he got through a steel metal pipe, or even an iron pipe with a damn brick.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, but it was like crawling through all that shit to come out clean on the other side. That was the big payoff for me.
Yes.
That and like you said, that end scene when Morgan Freeman's walking down the beach and he sees Andy on the boat waving to him with the chessboard, and it's just like, it's so satisfying.
Absolutely.
It is. It's so satisfying.
Okay then, right. We'll move on then. We'll move on to flip genres again. What's your favourite comedy?
Oh, I wish we were still in the 80s or 90s. Because this movie you will never see remade, thank God.
Yes.
Because at this time you couldn't do it. Back then when it was made, this was a satire on a lot of different issues, race being one of them.
Yep.
And that's Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
One of Gene Wilder's best roles. And he played the Waco Kid so well in Blazing Saddles, but this is a satire on race, on, I don't know if you want to say politics at the same time, but off so many things. And it was blatantly blatant. You saw the racism. You saw the class breakdown. You saw it. You saw it all. You saw everything. And Blazing Saddles did it very well with the story of a black sheriff coming to a white western town where basically every one of his predecessors is dead.
Yeah.
So that's a good plus.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a former railroad worker. That, of course, this is a little bit after the whole slavery thing. So, of course, black railroad workers, white cowboys that are ordering them around, of course, they're gonna down talk them like they're slaves. And in the first part, when they very first do that, and Bart gets them all together, he's just like, no, we'll go with it. And he has that song. I don't know if you remember that song, that I Get No Kick from Champagne.
Oh yes, yes.
And he plays it like that, and I'm rolling on the floor laughing, going in circles. I loved it. I love Mongo, the governor, Hedy Lamarr. It's Hedy, and I always say it Hedy.
Yeah.
But it's one of those movies that, another one, just like Tremors, that holds up over time. That you can watch it and get it. You don't need to be like an uppity film snob or something to see the point behind this. It's basically blatant right in your face.
No, absolutely.
And I mean, don't show it to PC people, because they'll probably get brain aneurysms and their head will explode.
Yeah.
But this is one of those, Blazing Saddles. Another one my mom made me watch when I was very young.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get half of it. I really didn't. Like, I got the stupid things out of it.
Yeah.
But she's like, what do you think of it after it was over? And I'm like, oh, they were farting. It was funny. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I was 6 at the time.
Yeah.
And of all the real fun things I learned, usually you learn that from your friends. I learned that from my mom. Yeah. I learned, like, Blazing Saddles, Airplane, cuss words, because she was a pot worker, and they have worse mouths than sailors. But I learned all this, and then rewatching over the years, you see it and you understand it. You're like, wow, you can't do that nowadays.
No, absolutely. Obviously, directed by Mel Brooks, an absolute legend in the comedy and the satire of those. I mean, his body of work as a director, just absolutely phenomenal with it. It's masterpiece after masterpiece. Yeah, you say producers: Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Silent Movie, History of the World Part 1, Spaceballs, even Robin Hood Men in Tights, which I saw again the other week and again had me in absolute stitches. It's one of my favourite cinematic Robin Hoods, without a shadow of a doubt.
Honestly, a lot of people say that. A lot of people say that. And I can understand it, because especially if you've seen the new trailer for the new Robin Hood movie.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Taron Egerton. It's
Yep. Rest in peace, Robin Hood.
That's unlucky. Yeah.
But it's. I mean, Mel Brooks has had that history with films that he has his certain way of telling a story, and it plays out so well.
Yes.
And I couldn't imagine seeing them doing this movie without Mel Brooks.
Yep.
If you had another director, like, I would be scared if they're like, well, we have, I don't care, you could put Frank Darabont, you could get Martin Scorsese. I don't care. It doesn't work without Mel Brooks. No. It doesn't work.
No, not at all.
And it just doesn't work elsewhere. And I think that's why, besides the whole PC thing and why you can't remake this film, but what director could fulfill that role to really do that?
Yeah. No? Okay. Fantastic. Moving on, it's kind of in the same kind of area here, but name a film that makes you happy.
Probably a film that makes me really happy is, honestly, Forrest Gump. Because it's that overall genre crossing film, but it from beginning to end, it takes you on a ride. It makes me sad, happy, hysterically laughing when him and Lieutenant Dan get together.
Yes.
And then just at the very end, just smiling when he gets married to Jenny.
Yep.
And I think also right there when, of course, Jenny's sick and everything,
yep.
and she dies, and that's a moment where you cry, where it's just like he gets that, and then he loses that. I mean, of all the losses he had with Bubba in Vietnam, with his mom, with Jenny, and now it's just him in a little forest.
Yeah.
But you still, at the end of it, you're still happy for him because he still has that with his son, at least.
Yes.
So it's a very enjoyable, happy, and it makes me smile.
Yeah.
Like that movie, I could be having like the worst day with work or anything else. Put on Forrest Gump, and at the end of it, I'm a lot better. It's one of those that really makes me just smile happy for movies.
No, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I loved it. This made my original list. It was 25 question one. Then I think this was my favourite drama. Yes, This is my favourite drama on there. As you say, it's got everything in there. It's got a little bit of action in there. We've got a little bit of Vietnam shootout. It's got some comedy in there, as you say, when we were at the bar on New Year's Eve with Lieutenant Dan and
the two hookers two hookers.
Absolutely. You've got some absolutely heart-wrenching moments when you say Jenny's sick and or his mum dying or and everything else, but that wedding part with Jenny when Lieutenant Dan comes back and says, Lieutenant Dan, you got no legs.
And also his wife, or his fiance,
yes,
is Vietnamese, I do believe
so. Yeah, I mean, I watched it last weekend. She definitely looked Southeast Asian-ish.
Yeah, and it's like that whole come around for Lieutenant Dan after his finding God moment, I guess you could call, when he's basically yelling at the thunderstorm to say, "You cannot sink this boat." Yeah. And then go swimming afterwards. Like, okay.
It's another one I watched. I think it was last weekend or the weekend before. I sat down on the sofa with my wife, and it was on. And the part where Lieutenant Dan turns up at the dockside for the first time, and he just dives off the boat with the boat still going.
That's my boat.
Crash. That's my boat.
You just see the look on Lieutenant Dan's face, like, what the fuck did I sign up for? What did I?
Oh dear.
Did the taxi leave yet? Damn it! It already did. I can't
gone.
Get back.
Damn it. Oh no. One thing I remember about this is Tom Hanks got the voice for Forrest Gump from the child actor. He copied the child's voice rather than the pair of them coming one together. It's like, you talk normally, I will copy yours, so that it's the same voice running through, which is something that just makes sense, but you don't think of too many times when it happens with an older and younger generation in one film. But,
and he nails just like the mannerisms of his own child. Like when he first meets him and they go and watch Bert and Ernie together, or Sesame Street, but a Bert and Ernie segment at the time, and they have that head nod, like at the same time. It's just like, it's so perfect.
Absolutely.
I'm glad he won something for that, because that was, if you're a fan of Tropic Thunder, and Robert Downey Jr. is very true with this.
Yes.
Don't go full retard in films, kind of like Sean Penn did in I Am Sam.
Yes.
And this one, he got an Oscar for it.
Yep.
Tom Hanks got the Oscar.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Which he deserves anyways. It's Tom Hanks, but. And he played it off so well to where it's not you're not just like you're not offended watching this play out.
Mm-hmm.
You're invested in every second of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's pretty sure it's Chance that had this on his overrated list.
Really?
Yeah, I know it's definitely been on there. I'm pretty sure it was Chance that was on there.
I might have to strip him of the TV title now. Jesus. Me and Chance are going to have a nice little heart-to-heart there.
I might do. It's definitely in recent past couple of weeks. It's been on there. Don't think it was Mark Borich who was on there. So I'm pretty sure it was Chance that fired that one on the under the radar as is overrated. But
me and Chance are going to have a talk. Oh, God, buddy.
What have I done? What have I done? Oh dear. Here we go. I've got it. I'm cheating now. I've got Jance's answers here. So we'll have a look.
You're trying to save the title.
Absolutely. Oh no, he's left it blank. He's left it blank on that one on there.
Okay, it's a 50-50. We don't know. No, so okay.
No,
all right.
Okay, let's move on. Let's jump on to the next one. Let's flip it on its head. A film that makes you sad.
I was going to tie it in with that. It's Forrest Gump too, with the moments, but. Yeah. I think that's a quick one we could hammer out because we both explained that with everything. With that,
absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll jump on from there. Then we'll not make ourselves sad and go to a film that you know practically the entire script of.
Oh, that's Dazed and Confused because
yep.
This was in my. I didn't see this. I saw it once or twice when I was little. I didn't think much of it. I started working one of my first jobs, and one of my friends I met there, he was like, "Hey, me and my friends are going to watch Dazed and Confused. You want to come over, chill with us, and watch it?" I'm like, "Sure." Like, I barely remember that.
Yeah.
And I saw it then. I was just like, "Oh my God, this is great!" Like, I think because I finally got it then at that point. It was I had to see it at a certain time, but I was just like, damn, I kind of wish they still did this with the hazing process with the freshmen. Like, I mean, there's a lot of big name actors. Like, you got Sad Affleck with Ben Affleck. You have Parker Posey. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
All right. You know,
it's got a lot of ones that I mean, I call them. Oh, it's that guy from that thing. It's got a lot of those actors as well. Anthony.
Benny, because he has been in so many things. I know him. Like, I know that guy.
Yes.
I don't remember his name, but he's been in so many things with Benny.
Yeah.
It's one of those I can literally just. I don't even have to pull out a script. I don't have to do the Chance from Room. I know the script. Scene 1. Let's start here where they're going into high school in 1976 at 4th of July Day weekend, I think it was. They were getting ready to celebrate the bicentennial, and they were had the last day of school. Mm-hmm. Oh no, it was in May, and they were talking about it over the summer as the bicentennial. So it was May, and then I can literally just go all the way to the end when McConaughey, Floyd, his girlfriend, which was I cannot remember her name. It's the blonde that was in Chasing Amy. It was the lesbian.
Oh my god!
You know who
I know who you mean. Yes. Oh God, Joey Adams.
Joey Adams.
Yes.
Yep, and I can remember all the way through. It's one of those. I know that movie like the back of my hand, and it's also one of those. If you ever do this, I don't recommend it. But if you get high and watch this film, it's even better.
Yep.
It is. I don't recommend that, but I'm saying that from experience. I've led a very interesting life so far for 31 years. But it's one of those, kind of like How High. It's very interesting when you are in another plane of existence in your mind.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, that would be my most.
Is it the one you know? Know the script of the best.
Yes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay. That's brilliant. It's film. It's another one of those ones that I've seen, and I think this is more than anything else. I think this was one I watched because I thought it's one that I need to have seen. rather than I thought, oh yeah, I want to see that. It was one that, yeah, I've heard a lot of people that I need to see this, so that I could say that I've seen it. I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's
you had that mindset of like, this is kind of like one of the movies I need to see in my lifetime, and not have that, like, kind of like how I am with every time I see an MCU film is out, like, I want to see that. I want to see it.
Yes. Yeah.
Doesn't always happen, but that's what happens when you're an adult.
Yeah. It's so unfortunate. That whole adult thing, it's just not fair.
I didn't sign up for that. I didn't sign up for that, Dave. Whenever the time hit, I didn't sign up for it.
No, so I've got 10 years on you, so I've got.
You got 10 years of wife and kids. So.
Yeah, God, yeah. I've got an 11-year-old that's going on 21. I swear to God. And
you're hitting that time right before the teenage years.
Yes, don't I know it? Okay. Anyway, let's not talk about him. Let's talk instead about your favourite director.
I look on this as I like a lot of different directors for different reasons. Spielberg for his action, of course, the great George Lucas for the first 3 Star Wars before he went mentally crazy with episode 1 through 3, and then sold to Disney and became the shill that he wanted to fight against. And we had Star Wars episode 9 or 8, but it'd have to go with, I've seen so many different movies from this guy, and I love his style with Quentin Tarantino.
Yep.
From Kill Bill 1 and 2, from Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, the way he shoots them, and also takes a lot of different actors and actresses from each film.
Yes.
But and also revitalized John Travolta's career in a sense. I really think so.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Without Pulp Fiction, you're not getting the late 90s Travolta that came back, and and I can't really say like that's always a good thing, because he did some pretty weird stuff in the 90s for movies, and then it was just like it works, but I'm just gonna put it over here. Yeah, no, it's his 90s thing wasn't the best. I mean, you've got what was it, Michael, which was quite good. I enjoyed Michael. Phenomenon. Broken Arrow is a guilty pleasure of mine.
That is one I have to see. I have to see that one.
You don't have to see it. I'll be honest with you. You don't have to see it. But
it's. I hear a lot of people mention that, not just you. So
it is an atypical late 90s action film with story. If you picture Christian Slater, John Travolta. One's a good guy, one's a bad guy. There's action going on, and you pretty much got the plot there. Action happens because of plot.
So it's kind of like Demolition Man. Okay.
Pretty much. But without Tarantino, Travolta doesn't get his career back on track.
Yeah,
at all. And
I mean, for the way he shot those films, of that jumping in between different times.
Yeah.
It worked so well for Kill Bill 1 and 2. It worked so well. And Reservoir Dogs, I love that. That's like a masterpiece movie.
Yes.
And especially with one of the most memorable scenes of Madsen just slicing off that ear. Yeah. And every time I see that, like, I know it's Hollywood, it's fake, the guy really didn't lose the ear, but I hold my ear every time. I'm like, every time I see it.
Yeah, with that obviously the music and the soundtrack playing in the background, and Steelers Wheel Stuck in the Middle with You in there, it's
it's like the music for that was perfect. It was perfectly twisted, but it was perfect.
Yes.
It's kind of like one of those fits, kind of like American Psycho with Christian Bale and Huey Lewis in the News.
Yes.
When he's killing Jared Leto, and I'm shouting just like first when I first saw it, like shouting in excitement of this is perfect. Now it's just everything Jared Leto. I'm like, yes, kill him, slice him up. Because I just get tired of Jared Leto every 5 seconds. But
yeah,
Quentin Tarantino just has those movies that are just so memorable, so unique, so different, and even now I'm blanking on the name. The newer one that was
What, Hateful Eight or Django?
Hateful Eight. Yeah, I always get that confused with Magnificent Seven, the one that Denzel remade from the original.
Yes, not the Ridiculous Six. Then. We ought to package those three in a trilogy box set and sell them. Ridiculous Six,
kind of like how they did
Seven,
Dark Knight.
Yeah,
you could start with a good movie in the Hateful Eight.
Yeah,
you can build it up with the Magnificent Seven, and then you can end it kind of like how they did Dark Knight Rises. You can end it with Adam Sandler's bomb of God. Whatever the hell happened to Adam Sandler after Longest Yard?
We got from Quentin Tarantino to Adam Sandler.
Oh my God! Yeah, if he would have gotten Quentin Tarantino to direct, I would have been like, I still would have put him on the list, but I would have been like, that was his faux pas.
Yes. I think, from what I understand, he's saying he's saying it's 15 films and then he's quitting, or was it?
What for
Tarantino? I'm sure he said he's going to be directing a certain number of films and then he's done.
Was it 15 or 17?
I can't remember. I know he's when he's up to 13. He's up to 13 now with 2 in the pipelines.
That, and I know he had, because I'm a big Star Trek fan. There was talk with him wanting to try and get in directing a Star Trek film. I don't know if that's still going on or that ended. I'm kind of a little bit lax on my news with everything recently.
No, but I've heard nothing say it's ended. But
yeah, and I think that would be an interesting take, is seeing how he would be able to do a Star Trek film.
It would freshen it up. It would definitely freshen it up.
Yeah. It, after everything we've gotten so far with the movie wise, I mean, the J.J. Abrams trilogy, I call it, wasn't really all bad. The second one was the downer. The third one kind of built it. It kind of gave it a heartbeat again.
Yes.
But
yes.
I think Tarantino could give it another heartbeat spike, but for TV, it's dead in the water with Star Trek Discovery. That's another rant for another time. I'll save.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, but mine is Quentin Tarantino for Best Director.
Okay, fantastic. You're not the first person to. I'm gonna have to re-listen to all my episodes and actually make a note of who said what to what.
Yeah.
So I can, because I know you're not the first person to say Tarantino, so we'll go with that. Okay, what's the favourite film from your childhood?
Oh, this one. If someone else said this, I want to be surprised. And this is going back to my mom again, showing me all these raunchy comedies. I don't know why. She built me into a better person because of it, but. And that's the original Porky's. She showed me all three of them. But the original one is great. With if this was high school life in South Florida I think it was filmed. The time period was supposed to be what, the 50s or 60s?
Yeah, the mid 50s, I think, from what I remember.
Yeah, I wish I could have gone to high school there and hung out with Meet Tuparello and why am I blanking on his name now? The one who hooked up with Wendy. Not Porky. Porky was the fat girl dancer owner.
Yeah, I don't know.
They made fun of him for being short. That's gonna piss me off. But then you got Tommy and Billy, the best friends, and you have the Jewish kid. And at that time, Jews and Florida was kind of like
Pee-wee,
black.
the character you're about. Pee-wee.
Yeah, Pee-wee. Yeah.
There we go. We got there.
Yep. And then the Jewish kid joining, and of course you have, which I think that's probably another reason why I went by my first name Tim when I was little. I always went by my middle name. But you have Tim in there. He's like the the redneck race, or he's kind of like the racist of it. The redneck was fuck. Mickey was the redneck, but he was racist. Tim was the racist and hated Brian, the Jewish kid, because he was racist because his dad beat racism into him.
Yeah.
They become friends, but yeah, it's just one. It's honestly with Porky's, it reminds me. It's like a generational piece of kind of like American Pie or Days Confused. If you grew up around those times, you were really invested in those films. Like American Pie came out like it was like a year before I got to high school. I'm like, wow, that's what high school could be like.
Yeah.
That lied to me.
Yeah.
Wow, that's what college could be like, because it was just coming around that time, like a couple of years, and I'm like, bullshit lie.
Yep.
And then I'm like, goes into the real world, because I don't really count the 2 spin-offs they did. I don't count those. The only tie-in it has is Jim's dad. And Stifler's little bastard brother. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, no.
And then it goes into American Wedding, and I'm like, I don't want to get married. It goes into American Reunion, I'm like, oh god, my high school reunion is probably going to suck just as bad. And it wasn't 13. We hit 10, and then we're going to go to 15. But it was what it was. But it's one of those generational pieces, and of course, as a kid, when you're little, seeing that, of course, with the scenes with Kim Cattrall, getting boned in the locker room and getting turned on by jock straps and socks, and of course, Bowbricker, and the best funny scene in a movie. I don't care what movie you want to bring up. When Bowbricker talks to the principal about wanting to get Tommy Turner in a lineup with 5 other boys and pull down their pants and identify the mole on their dick of the coach, the assistant coach, and the other assistant coach just losing it. She's like, I have an idea. Why don't we get a sketch artist? And I'm already on the floor crying. Yeah. And I got that as a young kid. I was on the floor crying. My mom pretty much just like falling over the couch, just hysterically, tears coming out of laughter, and it's one of the best scenes ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be my pick, was Porky's.
No, fantastic. It was for a long time the highest grossing film to be made in Canada, Canadian film.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's still top 5 even now.
Yeah. I think it's still up there.
Yeah, I think Canada's done well for getting TV shows filmed up there, but motion pictures they're not so much. But it's still top 5 if I remember out of which is for a film that was 1981.
Mm-hmm.
It held on to its place well. Okay, let's move this around a little bit then. What's your favourite animated film?
That would be Toy Story, without a doubt.
Yes.
I loved that as a kid. I love all the Toy Stories, and that's one. The second's even better than the first, and the third's even better than that. And I can't wait for Toy Story 4. I'll be there with all the little kids, just watching it like, yeah.
Yep.
While they're looking at me going,
why?
Do you have a helmet, sir? Or because I'll be there just loving it. But Toy Story was great, and the perfect voices for those characters, with Tom Hanks as Woody and Tim Allen from Home Improvement fame.
Yeah.
He's had other shows, but Home Improvement was that big start for him.
Yes.
As Buzz Lightyear, you had Sam from Cheers as the piggy bank.
Yeah.
I hear Rex's voice and I can see his face, but I can't think of his name.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, but that voice is, I've seen him in movies before, and I know that voice.
Yeah. No, that's going to annoy me now as well. But yeah, I'm not quite there with with part 4 though. I don't think they needed to be done. I think 3 ended it perfectly.
It does, like you said, it ties it in with Andy finally being old enough and passing it down to another kid to enjoy. And it's that perfect ending, plus that heart-wrenching scene of, the whole dump in the fire scene, which I was just
holding hands, and I was convinced. I mean, I was convinced that they were going to. I was like, they can't end it. Surely not.
Not like that. Not Disney.
Surely
something like
end it like that. But I was like, at the time, I was like, yeah, but how are they going to end it though? How are they going to get out of this? And then all of a sudden, the claw.
I was like, yes, they finally had a purpose.
So perfectly from the first film.
Yeah. But, and that perfect tying in to hand it down to the little girl. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like you said, it ties it in, but I'm still not going to be against seeing Woody and Buzz and all them again. Little Miss Peep or Little Bo Peep and Rex and Pig, and of course Don Rickles as Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's Wallace Shawn is Rex. Wallace Shawn.
Oh yes, yep.
Yes, got there eventually. They timed these films out absolutely perfectly to get them when they made out. So you've got the first one comes out, and you've got your little, not your little kid, because the little ones don't really do much, but your 7, 8, 9-year-olds, which is prime. I want to go out and buy a Buzz Lightyear figure.
My mom hated Toy Story for that.
Yeah.
I had the whole collection.
Yeah. I'm looking at my lad's toy box, and there's a Buzz Lightyear that, to be honest, probably not moved for about 3 weeks at least. It's on there, and that's probably only got moved to get something from underneath. There's an RC car knocking around somewhere as well. But yeah, so the time that I'm is 7, 8, 9, and then the next one that comes out is obviously like the 4 years later. So they grow up, and they're the teenagers, and they're getting more out of it themselves. And then obviously the big jump to end it, these kids that are there are now adults or young adults going to see it, so they've timed it so well. And then this one coming out obviously 8, 9 years later after that, they'll be taking their own kids to see the fourth one. And if they are, if they're doing it as a reboot, so the Buzz and Woody and all that lot have been in an attic somewhere, dusty, coughing, and they go out to a car boot sale and they get bought as a job lot as a car boot to a new kid, then I've not got a problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but I don't know if they're going to start it off like, because animation movie year is different from how many years it's been since the last. They might just start it off with the little girl and do like a whole maybe trilogy with the little girl for her growing up.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't mind, but I forget who I was talking. I can't remember if it was Kane or somebody else. And we were talking about Toy Story, and they gave me this conspiracy theory. Go with me on this.
Okay.
Remember in Toy Story 2 where he got Jessie, right?
Yep.
And how Jessie's kid, she left her in a box on the road.
Side of the road, yes.
That girl is supposed to be Andy's
mom. Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard that and read that before.
And some of it makes sense, but it's like, it doesn't have to...
Yeah, it needs to tie it in that much.
Yeah, but, yeah, Toy Story was definitely... There's still a lot of animated movies I love also, not just Toy Story, like Aladdin, that was really big for me. The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. I mean, pretty much all the old Disney movies from when they first came out, because of my mom.
Yeah.
Because she made sure I had like that whole old movie list of like Disney, Mel Brooks, 10 Commandments, stuff like that. And then she made me sit through Gone with the Wind at 9 years old. I wanted to shoot myself. But, so I had a lot of those old movies. And, I mean, Toy Story it came out at that right time for me at that age. And it was just so a beautiful story to show what Pixar could do at the time.
Yeah.
Because that was like Pixar's big hit to really boost it up the company. And, I mean, any more Pixar movies, they they hit the emotion more than regular movies do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And,
It's they do it so well, and pretty much all the Pixar films, they pitch them so well. They are aimed at children, but there's a huge slice of each and every one knowing that there's going to be just as many parents and adults in this film, and they need to tie those in. If the kid can go in there, but if the parents have switched off, they're not going to go in there. They're not going to go and buy the toys. They know they've got a kid. I mean, the cynic in me is the reason that Inside Out, just as an affair, the reason that pulls so much into the parents' heartstrings, as much as there's far more of an emotional attachment for parents watching, or adults watching, that Inside Out as there is for kids. The kids will get it. Oh no, Bing Bong's died, but the parents will be saying, "Oh my God, that's my kid that's going through what she's going through," and it's they're probably one of the smartest production companies around for knowing how to make it open to multiple markets all at the same time in the same film without being blatant about it. But
and they've done that with every film so far, from all the way back to when they started to now, of probably 17 plus years of being in business, and just it's been amazing.
Yeah,
it really has.
Absolutely. Okay, right, we'll move on then. Just a little throwaway one. But what's your favourite quote from any film?
Oh man, it has to be, "Yo, Pierce, I hear your sister's going out with," and then missing your shot in basketball. It's one of those I still say nowadays. I say it more to my friends who get it, because I tried saying it to somebody just fucking with them on the street. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that, kids. I'm telling you that right now. Don't ever fuck with people on the street, because people are nuts nowadays. Chased after me. Luckily, I got in my car, got the fuck out of there. But yeah, that was always my favorite line. Even also got me in trouble with school a little bit, because they were like, "What did you say?" And I was like, calm down. But basketball lines were always my favorites. So it was always Coop saying that in the early games of basketball, and Squeak not getting it, that he's the punchline of the joke. Like, why is it wrong with me going out with sisters? Like, dude, like, you could have a shot at his sister. He's like, why the fuck not? Then he hits him with the basketball, or with the ball as a baseball.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be my favorite line for a movie.
Okay, no problem. Right, we're starting to get into the serious questions now. We've got one, and then we're going into serious talk about some of these answers. But before there, who's your favourite actor or actress?
I have a few actors in which some of these movies that we've talked about earlier, and that's Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks.
Yep.
A lot of movies they've done. But for Tom Hanks, I like his. I mean, not Tom Hanks. Tom Cruise. I like his older stuff.
Yes.
Like the newer stuff, or the earlier stuff, it was like, The Mission Impossibles that started clicking with me, and Oblivion, Jack Reachers. I loved a lot of his later, older stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just because he matured over time, like fine wine. And I mean, Tom Hanks is. Everything he's been in, it has been great, from Philadelphia all the way to, I don't care what anyone wants to say, Dan Brown's Inferno, because I love those, the Dan Brown films.
Yes.
I love those, but I love those books. I've read those.
Likewise, I've read the books.
Yeah, and those would be my two, because I had to. I couldn't leave one off of that. It's like, it's kind of like if you have two kids, it's like you can't just pick one that you like above the other.
See, I get in trouble with that. I get in trouble with that, with a comment.
Yeah, I mean, I've known parents, because like being older, you know, a lot of my friends have kids, and they'll say to me, like, when you're just the guys talking, "Yeah, I wish I could say that," and I'm like, we look over where all the girlfriends are standing and all that, and it's like, yeah, or else you get punched in the face, right? That, or I have to sleep on the couch. It's like, yeah. Don't worry, I'll say it for you, buddy.
Yeah.
And I get in trouble for fun too. Yeah, it's one of those. I had to have them both on there.
Yeah.
I couldn't do one without the other.
No, not at all. I watched the other night. I watched The Circle with Tom Hanks. Have you seen that one?
Yes, with Emma Watson.
Yes, and Karen Gillan, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I forget what movie I was seeing in theaters. I was seeing when it came out, and they had the first preview for that, and I'm like, I've never heard of this. What's this? And then I had to go see it that October. I think that's when it was October when it aired, and that's one of those. It's a good build up thriller too.
Yeah.
For The Circle, and it's a different side with Tom Hanks because he's kind of like that bad guy.
Yeah.
You don't see him do too many bad guy roles.
I mean, I can't remember him playing a bad guy.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was like, ooh.
Which made me think, see him as a Bond villain.
Ooh, that would be good.
I'd love to see him just take himself just over just one little step. One side from being good to being really, really too nice. So nice that you're bad, but being as a Bond villain, I'd love to see that.
Picture him, and I'm still holding out hope for this, even though it won't happen. Idris Elba.
I think there's a pretty good chance of that. It wouldn't surprise me. He's got a lot of fans over in the UK. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they went with, oh my god, I'm blanking on him, Loki.
Oh, Tom
Hiddleston. Yes.
Well, wasn't he the front runner for a long time?
He was. He did a mini series called the Night Manager. The Night Manager.
Yeah, Night Manager, because it had from House, the Doctor from House, Hugh Laurie.
Yes. And I think when that came out, because obviously that's got the whole spy element to it, he came out of that looking particularly good. That
was kind of like his casting interview, and that's how the name got there.
I'd love to see Idris Elba as Bond.
He has that style of Bond. He has that. I don't want to call it swag because that's like the new, but he has that. Just that whole aura of as you would see James Bond, of Michael Moore, Sean Connery, all the different Bonds. You just see that that's Bond. I don't care what anyone says. That's fucking Bond.
Yeah, I mean, it's some people say he's too old, but he's younger than Daniel Craig. Is Idris Elba?
Yeah, how old is Daniel Craig now?
Daniel Craig's 50. 50 this year. Yeah, he's 50 this year. 50 already.
Yeah.
And Idris Elba he's a couple of years older than me, so we've still got a little while to go till we hit 50. So we're fine there.
You could still have a few films with him. You don't have to milk him dry, kind of like how they do every James Bond. That's why it gets old. Daniel Craig, that's why he got tired of it. But you could still do a few films with him.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Hiddleston was born 81. So he's got he's got a few years on the pair of them. But yeah, I'd say Tom Hanks. I'd love to see him playing a Bond villain. Just because he's never. The Circle, he was very morally ambiguous with it. He's never out and out. He's a bad guy. I mean, he is in the film. He is the antagonist in it. But my problem with it was they never actually pointed out what they would do wrong, other than got the mate killed because of the drone. They never actually said you're doing this wrong. So, but yeah. I really enjoyed The Circle, and bringing it back. There's not many Tom films that I don't like. He's always good. In the film itself, might not be particularly good. I'm going back to the Dan Brown ones. But he is always good in them and enjoyable in them. So anyway, no, I'm going to tie you down to this. Who is it, Cruise or Hanks?
Oh, I hate,
Go on,
I hate you right now. we were having such a nice bond here. What the hell? Oh God, breaking it down, I guess I'd have to go with Tom because, like we said earlier, or not Tom. Yeah, they're both Tom.
Not getting out of that way.
Tom, that's it. By the way, no, it'd have to be Tom Hanks because he has that overall beginning to end, and Cruise was kind of that mid to now end.
Yeah.
So Tom Hanks over Cruise just by that. If Cruise would have had better earlier performances for me, okay, it would have been a lot harder. But breaking it down with just that, it'd have to be Hanks over Cruise.
Okay, no, I'm quite interested to see where Tom Cruise is going to go next because he's not going to be able to do these action films.
Yeah.
I mean, he broke his ankle on the set of the filming of the latest Mission Impossibles. He's not going to be able to do that much longer. So
what was the superhero film they were talking about? Do you remember that story?
Oh God, I do. The only one I've got in my head now, every time someone mentions that, is he was originally in the running to play Iron Man.
Oh no! Yeah, this was like a newer one. I couldn't see it. Robert Downey Jr. doing that.
Good God, no. No, I mean, I'm not. If only there was some kind of online.
No, it was
that you could check. Tom.
Oh, I can't. It was he got the director from the Mission Impossibles. Got a movie for like a superhero one. There was talks of it, and the Green Lantern Corps.
Oh right, yes.
Bringing him in for that, and I'm just like, depending on who it is, like if he plays maybe an older mentor to another Green Lantern, okay, fine, I can see that, but I don't know. I'm kind of iffy with that, but that's just Warner Brothers in general because mess.
Yeah, they rushed it.
Oh,
they rushed it. They went Man of Steel. Okay, let's have a join up on now because.
And instead of after Man of Steel letting it sit so people can understand what you're going through with that whole Superman in modern time. Yeah, people are going to freak out like that, and I thought it was well done. And then you rushed it, and the only story that made sense in Batman vs Superman was the story behind Batman's ambition for why he hated Superman.
Yeah,
that's it.
They went Man of Steel. They should have gone Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, then the Batman vs Superman.
I think they could have done maybe a Batman film before that, so maybe we could see like the beginnings of taking out that first part of Batman v Superman to get Batman's motivation for it, and then that leading into the rest of that leading into Batman v Superman.
I think they just rushed. They saw the money that Marvel's made. They think we've got superheroes. We'll just do it like this. Everyone knows Batman and Superman more than they know those. Let's just go those. And it just.
But they don't have a Kevin Feige. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like they don't have nobody running it. They just they put all their in Zack Snyder, and Zack Snyder cannot make a film that's under 3 hours.
No. So when the studio see that and butcher it in the editing bay, it just doesn't.
And then we have to pay an extra $25 to $30 for the full version of the film to see it make sense, and it's just like, oh fucking hell.
Yeah. Okay, right. This next one is the one that is the most controversial every single week. What is your most overrated film?
Well, I'm going to go on another 45-minute rant here. Real quick, kids, if you haven't seen my channel, Tim Smith Reaction, I did a discussion for this the weekend that it came out, and I was very livid. Now, I can see me and Dave are probably going to have different issues on this, but we're going to talk like adults. Probably more Dave than me, but and the most overrated film which I was talking with somebody last night about, and they put out this point, which I'll get to. But the overrated film was Star Wars: The Last Jedi. When that film came out, everybody literally was like, "Oh, it's so great!" Like the theater I had was me, my buddy Rick, that grew up in the '70s with the original films. Like he remembers 4, 5, and 6, as they're called now, in theaters. He grew up with them. He loved them. He hated the first 3. I thought the third one was good, but I can see his distaste for the other 2, especially the first one. But 7 was like a breath of fresh air into the series. Like some good storylines. You have that handing of the baton. Yes, it was that safe of kind of like a taking out the skeleton framework of 4 and putting it in 7.
Yep.
I knew that was coming, and I figured that for 8 as well. But with the new characters, and when 8 came, Rian Johnson made that into a complete farce and joke, forcing comedy into a movie that's shouldn't have that much comedy into it. Because this is going into 8. It was the First Order, I guess, is going to have the upper hand. I don't know why all of a sudden they just went right to the base after, I don't know, their whole planet blew the fuck up. But that's another discussion. Planet blows up and all of a sudden, we're going to go attack your base with this gigantic starship we have now. And it's just like, and then that's when the jokes start. With Poe Dameron having the "your mama" joke with General Hux, and I'm just like, oh no! And my boss, he was my former boss, my buddy now, and he was looking at it like, what the fuck am I watching? I'm just like, oh no! And like it was a little bit saved with that space battle. Granted, people that go with science can pick that apart. No gravity in space, yada yada yada. But don't worry about that. It was a fine battle for what it was, and it was like okay, and then the ships escaping and what have you. And I was talking to a friend of mine for this new project I'm working on, and we had a talk with this because I mentioned he brought up your name about the show, and then I was like, oh yeah, I want to do that smoke, and he's like, oh okay, and we were talking about that with like a few past shows and stuff, because he's a big fan. And with The Last Jedi, the marketing campaign, the point that he brought up, if you think about it, the marketing campaign hid every detail about that. Because when you saw the marketing promos for this, you thought you were getting that gritty, that middle, dirty, kind of like how Empire was.
Yep.
You thought you were getting that, and you got screwed as a consumer. Because, I mean, hell, even at the end of 7, that final scene where Rey hands that lightsaber, like, and Luke just turns around and just like he should have had a halo on, because it was like, Luke was always my favorite. But he turns around, he sees that in his eyes, that emotion, and then, of course, cut. And I was like, fuck you, JJ. But it cuts, and then you get that, it picks up right there.
Yep.
Not 2 months later, right there at that moment.
Yep.
Which also made me double take for that ship, because I'm putting that into the time frame too. Like, what? But beyond the many problems of that film, and it goes that she hands it to him, and he just throws it over like a comedy bit, like forced comedy. And of course, the younger kids, because I think they think paint thinner and Tide Pods are good. They were probably eating them at the time. And they're laughing, and me and him are just like, oh no. And just you could have had the whole story plot for Luke done right, with the whole, he's pissed off, he's done with the Jedi after everything that happened with a young Ben Solo, now Kylo Ren. You could have had that. And now he was trying to be funny and comical, and like the whole, and the Leia flying nun bit, I guess you could say. The only time I'll ever tie Sally Field into Star Wars, which made no sense. They should have just had Leia die right there, which would have been fine.
I've got 2 main issues with the film that if they had have done right, I'd have had no problem with.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is Leia, yeah.
Yeah.
Her, when she got blasted out into space, I was like, oh my god, they've done it.
Yeah.
And that would have been perfect, because okay, fair enough, my lad and the younger fans hasn't got that connection to Carrie Fisher, to Princess Leia.
Yeah.
But 90% of the fan base that watches that are fans of the original trilogy.
Exactly.
And they, maybe not so high, 50% of that fan base grew up with her being the first crush.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yes, she very sadly that passed, but they didn't have to have everything else in there. Her fading away, out crucifix, she's dead, gives an emotional farewell for all the fans to Carrie Fisher, the actress, and Princess Leia, the character. Done.
Yep. Then
shocking. Admittedly, then she doesn't the whole reunion with Luke, which isn't a reunion because he's
a Force ghost,
hologram ghost.
Oh yeah, kind of like a projection.
Fortune. So it's not really a connection, but he's holding the dice from the Millennium Falcon.
I don't know how that works either.
But yeah, my other issue with that is the fact that it can no mention at all, apart from like a 2-minute skip on the planet of where's Han.
Yeah.
I get that the film is like 10 minutes after the end of Episode 7 for Force Awakens, so there's no chance for a funeral. And I know there needs... But so now Princess Leia is going to die in the opening crawl of Episode 9. That's going to be the fans' farewell to Carrie Fisher's most famous role, is in the opening crawl of a goddamn film.
And not like you said with the first part, when it looked like she was going to die on the bridge. Not only, that could have been the farewell to Carrie Fisher, but also that could have played into Kylo Ren to really push him more to that dark side slip, because he killed Han, which J.J. Abrams spelled that out in the first film. That was my only complaint with the first film, was like, really, there's no planks, there's just a walkway. What's going to happen? And that's another with the young kids that were beside us looking like, what's going to happen? I looked at them and I'm just like, are you fucking kidding? But yeah, you could have played that to a more turn to that dark side, because I'm sorry, after killing Han, I don't want to see him redeemed. I want to see him dead. Yeah. But and then killing Carrie would have made him an even better dark side villain, to just going completely dark. And then it carries on with the whole, like, I hated Rose as a character. I hated the whole cantina, the casino scene. Yes, which it was supposed to be Finn and Poe doing something like that, but of course they had to tie in Rose as feminism, which I'm sorry, that's pretty much what they did.
Again, they could have saved that whole part there if they'd have put Billy D. Williams sitting at one of the casinos tables gathering a load of chips.
That's another one who literally got the middle finger in the Star Wars universe, was Billy D.
Put him, because he's not mobile anymore, so you can't have him doing the action roles or being in there, but he stepped away from the New Republic, and he's at the casino doing what he does best, winning money, and just as they're running past, or as they're walking past, or BB-8 strolling past, he's there going, that's mine.
Exactly. Or you could have tied it in where this casino could have been like off the complete. Like, this could have been like an because you're looking for a forger. This could have been like a whole outlaw casino run by Lando Calrissian.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if the whole headband guy survived after the original one. Yeah, you could have Lobot right there with him.
Yeah.
Not saying a word, but just looking at you. He never said... I don't think he said one word, did he?
No. Not that I remember.
Yeah. But, I mean, that scene, the crazy Yoda, because I'm sorry, Yoda is a Jedi Master. Yoda's like that high moral mentor figure that trained one of the strongest Jedis, Luke Skywalker.
Yep.
He's a little asshole in this one that burns down the tree that Luke was going to burn down anyways.
Only because he knew that the books had already been gone.
Which you don't even really see. Like, that's the first think about it. In the Star Wars universe that we've seen with 8 films now, including that one,
Yep.
that's the first time you see a book.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is technology. That's the first book you see. And you could have gone more into that.
Yeah.
But you didn't. And then the whole chase thing with the First Order and the Resistance and everything, that it's just like, why? It's like, I know what it's coming back on with Han and Leia on the Falcon, but it's like, you didn't need that. Yeah. And then at least the one badass moment of Laura Dern's character, like Rose is always telling Finn, love will save us, but Laura Dern says, fuck love, I'm going to do a badass thing and take out the whole Imperial or the whole First Order fleet in one move, and she does.
So it should have been Leia.
Yeah, that's another moment you could have had. Okay, Leia sacrificing herself, and that's your goodbye.
Yeah. My say, as you may well be able to guess here, I am not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
With this, but I am in it because I don't think that many people actually rate it that highly anymore. I think.
Well, I'm just talking about when it first came out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
since then they've woken up.
Yeah. I mean, I still watch it, and my problem is that since I've started doing this, I've not been able to switch my brain off and watch films that much.
Oh, I see. That's one thing. I thank God that I never lost that, because I can, even though I'll tear apart the Transformer movies with Michael Bay directing, I can still shut my brain off, go enjoy it for the little thing that it is,
even the latest one.
Even the latest one, I'll enjoy it for what it is.
I've tried 4 times to watch that and failed every time. I've not been able to get through it.
I have that. I can shut it off, and then when I come out of the movie, I'll turn it back on and tear Michael Bay a new one. But I can go into the movie itself and just enjoy that little world, and then come out of it, put back on, and just rip Michael Bay a new asshole.
Yeah.
But
okay, I'm not going to disagree with you. It's Ryan Johnson's fuck you JJ film, because everything that JJ built up, he's knocked down.
And you got to think, you can't blame like a writing team for this.
No.
Because in the credits, writer, director, Ryan Johnson.
Yeah. I mean, give him. I'm quite looking forward to the Ryan Johnson trilogy, because give him his own start, middle, and end. Give him his own start, middle, and end in the story. I reckon he could do something else, but he would. I don't think he'd.
I'm hoping he's not one Old Republic. I'm hoping he's not.
I don't think.
Because that was talk for a while.
I've got a feeling that'll be some part of Favreau's TV series, because I think the storyline is just too vast to do in 3 films. I think give that long form to a TV series, and then you've got the likes of who's the director of the Rebels and the cartoon.
Filoni.
Yes, get him to do some episodes in there.
Or James or Paul?
No,
Filoni?
Paul Filoni.
Dave
Filoni.
Dave Filoni.
Yeah, Dave Filoni. Get him to cut his teeth directing, live action directing on there, and then he'll push up and maybe do one of the other flick around ones. Then he'll get his own big series of films there. But anyway.
Yeah.
Right, we'll move on, because otherwise I could talk for hours about Star Wars and talk about everything else like that. But
I went for 2 hours. I feel you.
But we'll move on. We'll flip on. It's most underrated.
That is, and this goes from Kane. I hope you're watching this, because it goes from when we used to do Jack of All Trivia Inner Geekdom, and that's the Losers with all-star cast with who we talked about earlier, Idris Elba. You have Jeffrey Dean Morgan. You have Chris Evans. I can't remember who their sniper friend was played by, but you have Zoe Saldana.
Yeah.
The bad guy. His name is on me. It's he was in Entourage. He played himself.
No, so I've not seen the film, so I can't help you at all here.
Yeah, it's I know what season. It's season 5 when they're shooting the Forest Fire movie, and he played himself. Not Robert Patrick.
Jason Patrick.
Yes, Jason Patrick played him.
Right. Okay.
And it's like a Black Ops team. They go on a mission. They get burned.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of dying, they go undercover, hide, and it's always Saldana's help because her father was killed in that, where she lies and says she works for a higher government agency to go after Jason Patrick's evil bad guy character. But you have great characters in Chris Evans playing his nerdy role as the character of Jensen.
Mm-hmm.
And he in one of the great scenes where he steals a file and he's trying to rush to the elevator, get the hell out.
Yeah.
And two Rent-A-Cop security guards stop him. But they got guns, so they have guns at least.
Yeah.
And he's not even worried. He just looks at him. He's like, stops for a second and looks at him, and he puts his hands up like they're guns pointed at him. He's like, and it's like a standoff. And then all of a sudden he does this with one of his fingers, and the guy drops. And the other guy's like, what the hell? And he goes through the elevator, turns around, looks out like the mirror, because they have or not mirrors, but they have windows there to face towards the next building. And he gives him one of those thanks, buddy, and it follows that, and you see a sniper buddy in there that has his back, and it has that relationship with them two, with Rourke's character is played by Idris Elba, is kind of the turncoat character. He's friends with Clay, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, the leader of the team.
Yeah,
and they always butt heads. They don't agree, but Rourke always had Clay's back until taking on this villain. This villain is well connected, hard to take down, so he takes the deal to go work with the villain, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, not to really, but gives him some payback and kills him for it. But it's very good, and it leaves off too with the villain, where you could have had a second movie, but they didn't do it. So it's one of those movies. I want more people to see, to really appreciate it for the small story that it is.
Yeah.
It didn't have that much of a budget, which, and not only just production, I don't think it had much of a marketing as well, so it kind of didn't get that marketing production based off a DC property.
Right.
So that's why we had it for our geekdom. But
yeah.
It's one of those, you have all these talented actors and actresses with Zoe Saldana with good character moments and interactions with the whole brothers and friends with Rourke and Clay playing off each other.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with Jensen. I cannot think of that sniper buddy. And I had a third one that was kind of like the wheelman.
Okay.
Like the fifth one, but I can't think of his name. His main character point was he had his wife. He was married, but because of them getting burned and going in hiding,
yeah,
he couldn't tell his wife, so the family thought he was dead.
Yeah.
She was pregnant at the time. So he's trying to build up the courage to actually go out and reach out to his wife, other than just looking at satellites to see her, to say, hey, I'm still alive. And at the end, he gets his character moment where he's there right in the hospital room when she's about ready to give birth to their kid. So you have that big character moment. But it's one of those movies that I feel that's very underrated, that a lot more people should see, and a lot of people don't know about this movie, but I still say it's one of those that a lot of people should see.
Okay. Well, I'm one of those. I've not seen it, and honest with you, this is the first I've heard of it. So as is typical for these episodes, something is being added onto my list, and that's this one. I've slowly worked through some of these. I've seen Clue recently. I watched Dunkirk the other week, but I'm adding one back onto it with this, so that'll be on my list to watch. Okay. Right, moving on then. What name a film that you like that no one would expect?
This one I had to think. I'd still have to go with Passengers with Chris
Pratt and
and Jennifer Lawrence.
That's yeah.
The only really two, you see Lawrence Fishburne in there for at the end of it as a third person. You don't really count the robot there because he's like dressed as a human for the top part, but when Chris Pratt looked underneath the bar, he saw a robot.
You've seen the line running through,
and it was a movie with just two characters in it, really, with just Pratt and Lawrence, and Chris Pratt, if you've paid attention to his career, he started off with Parks and Rec with comedy TV, and then he did Guardians of the Galaxy with. That was more comedy too and action. Wondered how he would play in a serious role like this with Passengers, and how him and only one other person would play off each other. But him and Lawrence did honestly very well together, playing off each other, and it helped with because who doesn't want to see Lawrence Fishburne anyways? That's always a plus. But it really helped, and their whole story of them coming together. Splitting there at the end because she finds out the reason why she's awake, or like 100 years before they're supposed to land. And then with Lawrence Fishburne's character, it kind of brings them back together with that because she really does love him and doesn't want to live without him. Brings them back together, and it's a love story that you can see happening in that movie. And because we're not going to see that happen in real life before we get all that cool science stuff. But
definitely,
you can see the love story with them and play out throughout the whole movie. Them getting together, them having their separation, and coming back together, and it's done very well with just two actors, which surprises me. For a lot of movies. Have a hard enough time doing it with all-star cast, but they did it with two actors, and it was kind of Passengers was just kind of own over movie. Like it had its big marketing push, but I think maybe it did average in the box office, but it after like the couple weeks of advertising, it was just like until the DVD came out, and then that was it.
No, it's I mean it was December release. December 2016, so maybe it's around that kind of time now that the was that the 2016 Rogue One, which was maybe a few days before that. I think that was around the 18th or that. So it's always going to be struggling, especially another sci-fi. Not even the counter programming that they tend to bring out for those that don't want to date movies and everything else that don't Star Wars. I enjoyed it, but it's not one that I'll rush back to see again, I think.
I
think that's the easiest way of putting it. With that.
When it came out, it had just a death row of movie. It was just walking down death row. There's Star Wars and Disney just looking at it like, we're going to have you for lunch, boy. And then it was just like, it didn't go well for them. But it's one of those... When I saw it, because I just picked it up on a whim, like, I'll see it. I remember seeing the trailer for it, and it looked pretty good. I was like, I wonder what happened with this movie. So I bought it, home watched it, and I loved it. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I watch that all the time, along with like Basketball, Reacher, a lot of these other movies, and it holds up. It's very, very well done.
Fantastic. One thing that makes me laugh about this is the voice of the spaceship. The woman who is a professional voiceover artist, but she mean absolutely nothing to you guys, but to the Brits that are listening, she's the voice of the Mind the Gap voice on the London Underground. So every time that a train stops and the doors open, it's her voice saying, "Mind the gap, please," and to stepping over. And she was the voice of the computer on the spaceship. Useless, just a bit of information there. You never know, it might
yeah. Well, it's always fun to see that, because like even for like the voiceover actors and actresses, they don't really get too much recognition for the talents they do, and that is a fun fact that she's pretty famous over there for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, right, we'll go back into the genre sorts after a fashion. What's your favourite classic film?
Oh, this is another from growing up, and this would be The Wizard of Oz, because it was always a family Thanksgiving tradition before I found out the films of Rocky.
Yeah.
But it was always family. We'd always watch that for Thanksgiving, The Wizard of Oz, and it's just that nice story, because I never even knew about the Wizard of Oz book or anything like that. I just saw, my mom showed me the movie, and it was a nice little story, and it's still one of my favorite classics, even though that comes with another one with the Ten Commandments, because I still hold that up there too, with Charlton Heston and Cecil B. DeMille directing that, and make so good. But just for the more sentimental value with The Wizard of Oz, I'd probably put that over for the more sentimental. But I'd still say with the shooting direction, with how they, especially in the Ten Commandments, when they opened up the curtain, when Charlton Heston opened up the curtain to show his father at the time the pyramid and stuff that he was building, that Cecil B. DeMille actually shot that. Like, that was real. That wasn't just like CG. That was real. It was like, oh, wow, for that time, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Wizard of Oz had also their thing, too, of a black and white movie, and then all of a sudden going straight to color.
When you go straight into color,
yeah, when you go into Little People Land. You know, you don't want to call them munchkins, but Little People Land.
Yeah.
And it is. You Wizard of Oz, you have the lovely characters with the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and of course the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah. And
it's one of those I still always watch it on Thanksgiving. That's always still the tradition. Even it's just me. I mean, the family, they do more other stuff. My mom's passed, so I still watch that for that memory for Thanksgiving and watch that. So yeah, that'd be my favorite classic.
No, absolutely. It's one I always remember. It's the first time I watched it, and it's vivid even now. It's like, oh, why? Don't want to watch this. It's black and bear in mind, young as I was at the time. And my mum and dad were like, no, you listen to watch it. Oh, it's black and white. Because I always, to me, black and white was my dad watching back then. It's the old war films, the old westerns.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God, Sunday afternoon, don't want to watch this. This is boring. Oh, hello, it's colour.
Yeah, once you get out of, because I was like that too as a little kid. My mom, except my mom wasn't probably as nice as the way yours sounded. She was like, sit down and watch it, and I was like, okay. And you know, we us American kids, we feared our parents. We feared them. We feared them with a fire of God. But and it did. Once that color hit and it got interesting after they got out of Kansas, it's like, okay, now we're going somewhere. Now I can relate.
No, absolutely.
And as an adult, I can, because you still need that beginning part to tie in with it. So it's one of those, when you watch it now, you get it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And in parts, absolutely terrifying at parts. It's those flying monkeys still creep the hell out of me now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I was a little kid, just saw these little, monkeys, I'm just like, oh, what? Are they going to kill her? She's like, just watch. And I'm just like, oh my God, they're going to kill her. They're going to rip them all up. And they didn't, thank God. But, and as a little kid, especially when they went into that, poppy field before they hit Oz, and completely passed out, and you see just that creepy green wicked witch, and I'm just like freaking out. My mom's just basically laughing at me seeing this. I think she got enjoyment of that, but It was. It was. As a little kid, you're watching it, especially for a first time.
Yeah.
Stuff like that does it, and it gets you engaged in the movie.
No, absolutely. I mean, all this technically, Dorothy is technically the villain because she did land a house onto the Wicked Witch's sister.
Yeah.
She drew first blood.
Oh, okay. To be fair, that she drew first blood, but they were dictators to those little munchkins. Because even like as soon as that house hit, they were like,
"Ding dong,
thank you for saving us."
Yeah,
and they had a party for her. So, but then again, you did see her on screen killing her by melting her down to a puddle. So
yes, yeah, that's 2 kills to Dorothy.
2-0. Take that.
Take that back, guys. It is the epitome of a classic film. Say a late 30s, is it 1939?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Quite possibly the oldest film that is regularly watched and loved by people even today.
And that's another, like we talked about earlier with like Toy Story, of showing our kids that's something our parents showed us, their parents showed them, on, and like I would show my kids that too, the day that accidentally happens, but I would show my kids Wizard of Oz, Toy Story, all these classics, and it's just one of those generational movies that you want to show the next generation, and so on and so on.
Absolutely. Not so much the Michael Jackson sequel.
Oh, why did you have
Wiz.
to bring up Wiz? You're going to bring up Disney Channel's attempt for a revisit of that.
No. I was going to bring up James Franco's Oz the Great and Powerful.
I'm going to get yelled at by your fans for this, but I enjoyed that.
I don't mind it either, to be honest.
I know it was a complete bullshit, but I enjoyed it.
For what it was, it's not too... For a prequel, a Wizard of Oz prequel, it's... Anyway, let's move on.
Before we do, I do want to say, at least you got character from the legs that were sticking out from under the house now, so you got some character there.
Yeah, absolutely. See, she even steals shoes as well, though. Not only did she kill the woman, she stole her shoes.
You're really just painting her as the villain.
Of course. Look, of course the older sister's going to be after us. She's dropped a house on her younger sister and nicked her ruby slippers. She's going to be mad.
No. She didn't even want those slippers. That was Glinda that forced her to have them.
Oh, she didn't argue too much.
Like, oh shit, I have.
She didn't argue too much, did she? Oh no.
Look where she just woke up. The situation she just walked into. What would you do?
Dorothy kills someone. The unprovoked attack. Unprovoked on the... Admittedly, the Wicked Witch of the East might be a very particularly good name. Unprovoked attack, dropped a house on her head, stole her shoes, and then went straight after the other sister.
It's not like he was flying the house. That was Mother Nature that did that. That was Mother Nature just a mistake.
Yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah. Now that we've totally rewritten Wizard of Oz, let's move on.
Yes.
What's the film with the best soundtrack?
Oh God, that would be The Avengers, because that whole soundtrack.
Uma Thurman and Ralph Fiennes.
Huh?
Uma Thurman and Ralph Fiennes, 1998 remake of the British spy.
No. Yeah. As soon as you said like the remake, I was like, yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing that Avengers. I saw it. It was like a weird station back in the day. I remember seeing. They showed it, and I'm like, what's this? The Avengers? And then that's my first taste of that. But
it's that's about as much as you need. That makes me laugh because over here, because I'd say the Avengers was beloved in the 60s.
Oh yeah.
The film, the Marvel one was released as Avengers Assemble. because
Yeah.
otherwise it would have been confused.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, everywhere, all the different markets, they have to rename
Yes.
stuff. Like, I forget one popular movie here in the States, they renamed it something in Mexico that was completely different, but yeah, or else you have that confusion.
Yes.
And like just the sound, like every sound I heard with that whole movie, it just seemed so perfect. And I love the instrumental pieces of that whole sound.
No, absolutely.
Like, of course, yeah, you got like "Shoot the Thrill" when Tony came in, but just the instrumentals of that soundtrack is just. I still get pumped. If I want music to pump me up, I'll play that instrumental Avengers theme to just like pump me up.
Absolutely. I mean, Alan Silvestri as the score there has done an absolute sterling job to the point that Avengers theme obviously carries through to the other ones as well, and it's missed when it's not there. Are you there? I think I might have lost you. Okay, for those that are here, I think I've just lost Tim. That is a shame. Look at that, we're so close. The last but one question, and it's gone. He's dead. Well, he's not dead. I hope he's not dead. Yeah, the call's dropped. Oh dear. Right, let me just try and see what's happened here. I'll try and get it going again. I'm not going to edit any of this out because I'm rubbish at editing. But we're still recording. No, it's failed. Okay, so we're going to have to call it a day here. Not exactly how I wanted to end. By the way, his favourite film franchise was Fast and Furious. So we'll try that. I'm going to try once more. Is he back? I've got him back.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just about to say, okay, and this is not the best way that I want to end a podcast, but we'll no, let's try once more. Right, yes, Alan Silvestri.
Yeah, that's what's like. I remember we were talking there, and I was like, as soon as like the Avengers pop up, and then you started going for yours, like it just cut. I'm like,
yeah,
Dave.
Yeah, and I was just going, Tim, I'm on my own here.
I felt the same. I was like, Dave, you still there? Did the sound card kick out now?
Oh God, no! Don't tempt fate. It's been all right so far. No,
I got a wood desk. I'll do that.
Yeah,
I'll knock on
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, that score is absolutely fantastic, as you say. It's one that builds in the right places and calms you down lulls for it, and yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those good instrumental ones too, and I mean, Dark Knight had a lot of those good instrumental. Mm-hmm. Even as much as I shit on Dark Knight Rises, all three of those had good sounds to them, and especially I love instrumental ones. Like, if you get a good song that plays with a movie, I can get that.
Yeah, but
those instrumentals are just so good. Like, especially, I mean, a famous one because we're big Star Wars fans, John Williams, right there.
Yes.
But Avengers just does it so well for me with all of it, even with just the regular songs with that soundtrack. It's just an overall very good and enjoyable soundtrack. So one of the few CDs I've went out and bought, because most of mine I'll just download off the internet for free because the government doesn't care anymore. But they don't after their whole fight with NAP.
Yeah.
But that is one of the ones I actually went out and bought the CDs. So
yeah. No.
But,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Final question. We've got to the end. It's not much of a surprise anymore because I did tell while the caller dropped out. I was about and his favourite franchise is Fast and Furious, but then you come back and I don't like editing, so everything stays in.
Okay.
So, what favourite film franchise? This is where you throw in and pick something else.
That's a good question. It's going to surprise a lot of people. No, it won't surprise a lot of people. And For the fandom league in the new project I'm doing, they added Fast and the Furious. I am going to own that category like Dom DeLuise owns pies. That is my franchise I love. I don't care how many people want to shit on it.
Yep.
From the Fast and the Furious to even the horrible disaster that was Furious 8. Granted, it wasn't as horrible as I thought because they didn't put Justin Bieber in the film and people were saying that was going to happen. Like, God.
Yes.
But that my whole franchise, I love that whole brother bond him and Brian had all the way through to that's another film that made me cry. I was with my ex at the time, and we were still new in a relationship, so we bit our tongues, and she went to see Furious 7 with me. I had to take her to see Magic Mike, and I wanted to shoot myself. Yeah. Granted, I got sex after that, but still. We went to see that, and she just looks over, and we went to that because I took her to see the live-action Cinderella.
Right. Okay.
And I had a touching moment with the whole father-son they had when the king was dying.
Yeah.
But in 7, because I've been tied together with these characters all the way from the first one, I'm there bawling in tears like that last whenever they have that drive off, and she's looking over at me just like, what? Clean yourself up. They're going to think I beat you when the lights come on. I'm just like, I can't help it. And I'm literally just in tears just from that touching moment. And that's going to be one of my series. As much as I love a lot of other stuff, that's one that is just it's one that's drawn out more emotion for a whole franchise than anything. So
no, absolutely, it's transformed itself so well as well, from being the heist good guy bad guy of the first 2.
I think the 2 is when you started to see maybe a little bit of a transition, but the first 2 were still kind of like that.
First 2 were good guy cops undercover getting the bad guys. We'll ignore Tokyo Drift.
Well,
completely. Don't you dare try and defend that film. No.
Okay. All right. No, because even with the whole series, granted, yes, that was just a third 4, which moved Tokyo Drift. I will still defend it because we got Han out of that, and Han was a great character. I still like Sean. Granted, he had so much of a southern drawl. I thought he was from the backwoods of Tennessee. And it was a good overall story. It was something different. Granted, it was, drifting. That's what they do over there in Japan, and it brought eyes on drifting. I can understand that. It was different. We got Han out of it. Han was that great compass until Brian got back for Dom. But
I suppose it's because it's just not a Fast and Furious film. It was nothing like the first 2, and it's nothing like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I kind of think, honestly, when they came 4, I think it was them in their minds, okay, let's do a course correct to try and fit in Tokyo Drift, because it was a completely, 180 compared to the first 2. So I think that's what they were kind of doing, because we had 4, then we had 5, then we had 6 with Elaine.
Yes.
Which we got her at the start of 4, and then DC got her to play Wonder Woman, and Patty Jenkins did a great job with that.
Yeah.
Because I was worried. Like, when they first announced it, I was like, I like her from Fast and Furious, but I don't think she can do this.
I'm still 100% convinced she can act that well. She didn't have a great deal of acting to do in Wonder Woman.
Well, Patty Jenkins covered that up very well.
Yes.
That's what I praise her on doing, is covering that up.
Yeah.
But as soon as she died in 6, then that's when you see Tokyo Drift, and then, of course, with Jason Statham being added to the franchise, that's when you see where you gotta just go with it and say, okay, that happened. He walked past Han before he blew up, even though you don't see that in the actual film.
Yeah.
Because I have the original when it came out on DVD before I bought the Blu-rays. And the DVD, guess what? Not in there. But I still have that with my mind. I can turn it off and just let it go. But
yeah, it's. I mean, you're talking around about $3.9 billion worth of franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Shabby, really.
And honestly, it's still a big hit over in China, in China's market.
No, absolutely. I genuinely believe that with Paul Walker's passing, I think the series is outgrown Vin Diesel now. I don't think it's a Vin Diesel series anymore. It's a Rock series now.
Well, yeah, The Rock has that as a character, just as an actor. He has that presence. Yes. He just takes over a movie. People were so worried with Jumanji, and they're not. They're just thinking of The Rock now.
Yeah,
and he did that with Fast and Furious coming in, and like you said, with Paul Walker's passing and Brian gone, yeah, it's kind of not anymore with Dom. I don't think we'll see too much of Dom anymore with his kid now.
Yes.
So I think it's going to be more of like a Rock working with Jason Statham's character. I think it'll be like a Hobbs and Shaw. Yes. Was it Deckard Shaw?
Deckard Shaw. Was that?
Yeah, because Owen was...
Owen Shaw was the brother and Deckard is...
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's supposed to be like a buddy thing with them working together. Probably Kurt Russell is Mr. Nobody again.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It'll be weird seeing a new direction without them too, because we've seen them for 7 films, and then we kind of saw that with the 8th one with that loss of it, and kind of like Letty was the main, kind of like trying to bring Dom back, and it was just like it's not the same without Brian, and I kind of wonder how that'll be future.
Yeah, I think that 8's the one where they jump the shark with the racing a submarine, and
I was going to say literally they jumped that
and kicking. He's out there and he's kicking the torpedo out the way. It's just.
I can't say anything because I'm a big Stargate fan, and Stargate Atlantis was the spin-off from Stargate.
Yep.
And one of there was a loose drone coming. They shut it off, and it stops right in front of Shepard's hand, or O'Neill's hand, and O'Neill gets in the helicopter like he just shit himself. Like that happened. So I let it go.
Okay, fantastic, and we are done.
Right.
We're done. Thank you once again, Tim, for joining us. Tim, plug some stuff. Plug some channels.
Well, I know the new project I have with Multimedia Entertainment. It's going to be a channel not just for trivia, but for shows, for different programming, which I'm in talks with a lot of different people interested in shows they want to do to throw on there. So Multimedia Entertainment, one of our biggest projects, to work with the whole community of us film buffs here, of not just one or the other, but working with all of us to build something for all of us. So I always want to promote that. Quick rundown with Jessica, Mark, Jim, Nico. Thank you guys for your support, and of course everyone else helping with those different divisions for the ideas for this. And of course, a big thank you to you, Dave, for being on here. I love seeing these shows when I get a chance to get on to see them. It's great to finally be on one, and I hope it's going to keep. I hope you're going to have plenty more. I hope I don't kill it for you.
No, not so. Hey, one thing, you have got the record. We've got the longest episode so far gone.
Woohoo! Yeah. All right. Yeah, you get us talking with movies, it's going to go.
Oh yeah. Okay, so thank you once again to this week's guest, Tim. Just to remind you, we are on Podbean, so please download the episodes, follow the Podbean feed, or subscribe via iTunes, rate and review. It really does help me, so I kind of know how many people I'm talking to each week. If you fancy being on the hot seat yourself, then you can email the pod on thatmadeyourlist@outlook.com. We are on Twitter with @that'smadeyour. We also have our own Facebook page, That Made Your List, where you can find all the old episodes, as well as a pinned post of the questions that are asked. Get involved, comment on the posts, tell me if I've been harsh about Wizard of Oz, or if you think Tim and is thinking that Last Jedi is overrated is wrong. Just please get involved in there. Just don't be rude, be polite. A quick thank you to Shay Watson and his band Print for donating the first 10 seconds of one of their songs called Merry Go Round as the intro to the podcast. That song is available on iTunes as well. I've been Dave Gudger. He's been Tim Smith.
Yep.
And this has been That Made Your List.
Yep.
Thank you.
Have fun, everyone.